I think I just got to get out of this place, man. I'm just like unbelievable. Talk about exceptionalism.
Yeah, crypto's tough, man. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but 2025 is the next top of the market, I think. So you guys got another year to accumulate and sell into that bull market in 2024, 2025.
I wish Richard would come out and stream right now. That would be excellent.
He did a couple like retweets. He added to the thread of bugs and hacks and bad things happening in crypto. He added Binance and Coinbase today.
Shouldn't that pump our chain up?
Got some support. We did dip this morning. I saw this big old whale do a big sell order, but it's so funny because whenever things like this happen, where someone sells an insane amount at once and tanks the price, it always shoots back up within the next block or two. So it's like these people don't know how blockchain works, and they're clearly not watching these things on chain. They should be splitting up these orders into much smaller cells.
So why don't they just provide liquidity in a tight range? Then when it leaves the range, then they pair it up with USDC or something, Say they want to sell $100,000 worth. So they put $100,000 with both sides on a pair and a stable coin, set a tight range. As long as it stays in that range, they make money. If not, then they aren't going to suffer any impermanent loss. Then they'll end up with a lot of USDC. When people buy the coin, then they can cash out the USDC. Somebody bought them out the door as they made a little money leaving. Why would anybody just dump on the market?
Impatience. I think some of these people, they don't understand the liquidity depth is pretty low right now. And if you sell $250,000 or $300,000 worth in one order, you will tank the price 5 to 10% at some times. And that's kind of what happened this morning. You saw a big spike down. Let me get the exact price here, but I saw, Pulse price had a big old spike, but within 20 seconds, it was getting bought up with only 2 blocks instantly.
So am I wrong on my concept? Let's say I pair Hex with USDC or whatever stablecoin, and I set it in there, and they buy all my Hex. They give me all the USDC, then I cash out half the amount of USD because it's stable. I'm really not losing anything, right? So I make a little money on the way out the door. I don't tank the price because somebody's buying it.
You do lose a little bit of money to impermanent loss. If you do the formula, you would make more by holding the individual assets if Hex would have gone up. You would still be suffering some impermanent loss because, again, the price of Hex is higher. You have less Hex and you have more USDC. So if you were to just held the Hex, you would have had more Hex at a higher price.
Let's just imagine I was looking to sell $100,000 worth of Hex anyway. So I'm going to get rid of it. So I pair it in a tight range, and then I cash out half the USDC when they buy all my Hex. I make money out the door and keep the price up. Am I incorrect?
Unfortunately, with the way that liquidity works, you can't just be like cash out half the side. It's not balancer. You'd have to cash out 50% or,
I'd
be cashing out
all of the USDC, and then I would take that and turn half of that into money because that's what I was looking to do. But because I set a tight range, I made money on the way out the door.
Yeah, this is a Uni V2 model. It's not using the V3 model because the license just expired for that. So no one had forked that until they had just talked about doing it recently. So there's no way to set a tight range. Just keep saying there's no way to do that. This is just the typical AMM model, which is it's a non-linear kind of a model. So the way it works
what
is,
you're saying is my theory doesn't work until we have V3.
No, your theory wouldn't work at all because you're still losing money to impermanent loss. You can't just change the rules of the game or the formula. It's a very simple swap formula, input output, right? And it's based on the rate, the liquidity depth, and AMM rules, whatever the formula is for the AMM DEX itself. So there's certain things. This is why you see these parabolic moves and inverse parabolic moves in crypto. And most charts look like this. They just sell off 99% because they're DEX tokens. The liquidity is as such to where the market maker isn't meant to be a taker, right? So there's no movement unless someone's actually selling or buying. And this formula is predetermined. And if you look at it and actually were to chart it, you could see it in cryptos, how these things pull 1,000x, right? Or they go down, like I said, 99% or more. And it's just based on this formula. But because of this, how it works is you're actually losing money to arbitrage through this. So as the price is changing, arbitrage is happening between the pools. And this is actually where the impermanent loss is coming in. Because in a perfect world, you really wouldn't be losing any money. You're making money from the fees, you're making money from this and that. But the shift in the asset prices, you actually be better off just holding. In that scenario, you would just be better off just holding the Hex, letting the price go up or whatever, and then just selling more units versus having more dollars because someone bought your Hex. In theory, the price would have gone up. You know what I'm saying? So like if you were to do the math on it, you'd just be losing money. Either way you look at it.
So you're just saying hold the hex, let it run up, but I don't know that it's gonna run up, right? I mean, if it doesn't, then I'm just kind of sitting, but I can't put it in a range anyway. Let's just do it on another chain. Is that theoretically correct? Or like, because I want to get out of the thing. I'm not looking to, you're saying because they have to buy it, you might as well have just held it and made the money on it and just sell out on the market.
Like, I don't know why you'd want to, I mean, in your idea, like you just want to cash out a larger amount without suffering slippage or whatever, but you just want to just break down your orders in a smaller amount. So you want to sell 100,000, sell $10,000 chunks or $25,000 chunks, because the point is you don't want a lot of price impact with each sell. So like that person who sold like $250,000 or whatever, they hurt the price, but instantly lost money because it was arbitrage back up because there's so much liquidity across chains. Yeah, they dumped into one pool, but the rest of them pulled the price back up instantly. Price tanked about 12% in 1 minute. And that's what happens when you sell almost $750,000 in one order, right? You don't need to do that. And then the price immediately came back up about 11% within seconds. So he lost a good chunk of change right there.
Maybe the price dropping caused the other people to buy it. He just wanted to get out. What does he care, right? He's leaving.
Sure, but a couple seconds of impatience cost him 10% of his money.
I know, but it's like you'd have to have a crystal ball, right?
No, it's not a crystal ball. It's just common sense. You don't dump $690,000 in one order. That's just stupid.
Kyle, you must be friends with Gensler.
He must have got fudded out because he read the news early or something. But it's funny because, yeah, he did one order, swapped, it looks like 5.5 billion pulse just in one order. Like, why not?
What's the economics of that? Do you think, could you figure that out?
What do you mean? What kind of economics?
Well, he started with X number of dollars and now he has X number of dollars. What slippage did he occur, do you think?
I'm going to check his history. Give me a second. It has literally one transaction. It's never made a transaction before. It had no other token transfers except for this one order. It still has 18.5 billion tokens, but it dumped like 5.5 billion for 690,000. It makes me wonder like where these tokens are from. Who could this possibly be, right? That has that many tokens and that didn't get the airdrop, right? So I need to go do some more research. I'm gonna look this up on like DBank and stuff.
Thank you, man.
It's interesting because I'm like, who would do that in the first place, right? Who has that kind of money to just dump like basically $700,000 in one order, and they still have a ton of crypto, right? It's like not like that was all their money. They didn't just sell everything. They have 18 billion left.
Yeah, it's funny, huh? Hey, look, I need JA. I need you to go evil today, JA, and then call Gensler, okay? Get in your mood and then call Gensler for me.
Because usually what would happen is like, so say you're on Pulsechain, you got the airdrop, it would show it as like tokens being like minted, I think on chain is what it would show. It wasn't like a normal airdrop. So, they created the tokens and everyone had like tokens like spawn in their wallet, right? So that's why I'm trying to figure out why this guy has so many tokens. Or if this could be like one of the daughter addresses or something like they call.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
The Pulsex or Pulse or whatever, like sent to your wallet, right? You can see it. He doesn't have any transactions at all from basically April 25th till like June 3rd. And then it was like a transaction on Polygon. He had like an NFT he minted. That's not Pulsex. And then all of a sudden he just like sells 5.5 billion Pulsechain. If he were to have broken it up, he would have basically made an extra $55,000, right? If he just had broken up and sold it in smaller orders. But he dumped it in one order to get 690K. And he still has in that portfolio, what's crazy is he still has 2.4 million in Pulse. But again, I'm like, where the hell did he get all these billions of Pulse? Who is this person?
It's daughter, and it's probably testing the NFT side.
It's just a really bizarre thing because like on Pulse scan or whatever, scan at Pulsechain, it only shows one transaction on Pulse, which is unusual, right? He never had any gas.
Does it ever run through a mixer?
You can add a send on a transaction, right? So like if you do like a Pulsex transaction, I could send it to a different transaction, to another wallet instead of my own, but it should show as an internal transaction. And that's weird. It's like nothing is showing at all.
Aha. Send it to Adrian. Let him check it out. He'll run it backwards.
Yeah, you check out this address. It's weird. So like the only thing they have on Etherscan is showing they had a stake. They have some hex, a couple $1,000 in hex, but they started a stake 41 days ago, which was April, that April 25th transaction. But they had been messing around in the last couple of years or year or so with hedron and things like that. Like they have hedron on the icosa hedron site. They have some airdrop called Texan that they had claimed it's worth nothing. $30 in ETH. They got 13,000 in hex and they have about 17,000 in phex, but they have literally $2.5 million of pulse still sitting in this wallet that is unexplained. It's very strange.
Could be a dev wallet.
You know, that would make a lot of sense if it was just a dev, because instead of just like because they had gotten paid for their work, you know, and like that actually does make a lot of sense. Because again, think of it like this, right? So they got the tokens when the chain started, because I don't see any, like, it wasn't airdrop to them. So they started with billions of tokens, which is a lot. That's a lot of tokens. I mean, who would have that many tokens that didn't sacrifice, right? I mean, maybe I can check them on that sacrafice checker. Whoever it was, they lost a year's salary by selling in one order versus breaking it up into smaller orders. And it would have cost them less than $1 in gas to have broken up in small orders in maybe 20 minutes of their time or 10 minutes of their time.
Isn't that kind of crystal ball-y though? You know, hindsight, right?
I mean, again, not really. If you have any common sense in DeFi, you would know not to sell that large order in one sell order, because you're hurting the price, instantly getting arbitraged from the other pools, which have tons of liquidity. And you're not saving yourself really any time, because time is money. And if you think about it, you just wasted $55,000. How much time would it take you to make $55,000? Even with that $700K or $2 million, that's still a lot of time value you lost just from one click. It's weird. I don't see the airdrop for them. There must be something wrong with the pulse scanner or something. But anyway, yeah, so I'm looking at them, their sac. They did a sacrifice in hex. That's where they got all this from. They sacrificed a ton of hex. Yeah, they sacrificed July 2021 through, they sacrificed 4 days in a row, $250,000 per day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they sacrificed $1.2 million in hex for the pulse. They didn't do Pulsex sac. They just did the pulse.
What was their?
It looks
where'd
like
they rank in the sac number?
I don't know about that, but they had 24 billion, so that put them up there pretty high. But yeah, so it looks like they got a pretty fat stack. They got 24 billion tokens by sacrificing $1.2 million. But now they're sitting on like so much. They're sitting on like 3.2 million in their wallet. Not bad, but it's weird how, like, I don't know, the pulse scanner is definitely broken, or it's not showing everything, because it should be showing them receiving the tokens, not just like having it just appear magically in their wallet. Maybe it was different for the pulse airdrop than it was for Pulsex, because Pulsex was a PRC20, so maybe I'm just getting myself confused here. He sacrificed for the Pulse sac, and maybe it just looks different because it was the native asset for the chain, which is like, gas. It's not going to show like a token transfer. It wasn't a token transfer. Yeah, that should be a lesson to any whales out there though, man. Don't dump in one big order, because this is what's going to happen. Arbitrage will instantly push the price right back up. He lost 12% on that sell order by selling at once, when there was plenty of liquidity to absorb that money if it was in just smaller chunks. But the AMM DEX doesn't allow you to sell that large of amount without an extreme amount of slippage and price impact.
Can you see what his slippage is?
No, I can't see that, but I will tell you this. The price impact he received was like 12%. So, I mean, you can have your slippage at the minimum, but your price impact will be that high. You know what I mean? And that prevents you from getting front run or, front sold or whatever.
I guess he's Mr. Dumb Big Balls.
Within the same block, actually the very next block, $68,000 got bought, like a bunch of orders. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 orders went through the very next block in excess of $150,000, which helped bring the price back up pretty much close to where he had dumped it from. And then within another 10 seconds, another block hit, and more buys and sells came in, but it just brought the price right back up within a few minutes.
So where do you go to get bot smart? Where do you, I don't know anything about bots, and I want to start learning. Where's a safe place for that?
Like trading bots?
Yeah. Like I see these orders coming across the deck screener where, the same wallet is doing this almost the same amount of order in like less than a minute. They get like 20 orders going across, and we don't have limit orders. And it's like having a limit order in a semi-fashion. How are they doing that? And so I want to get educated for that.
I would assume they just wrote a smart contract to execute multiple buys at lower limits so the price impact wasn't too bad. But again, I don't know, man. Some of these people, it's beyond me. Even though I do Solidity development, some of what these other people do, it's like, there's always someone who's 10 times smarter than you.
I feel like I'm starting to learn the game of chess, and I'm playing against a master, and it's like, like, should I even start to learn, because I'll never catch up.
I was just gonna say, you want to also be careful if you're doing research on bots, because there's a lot of scams that will literally drain your wallet. And most of these front running bots, they usually have a back end, and then they call smart contracts. So 99% of these quote unquote bots or front running bots, you got to be really careful because as soon as you deploy the contract, they'll just drain everything.
So basically, you're saying you can't trust any of them because you can't trust anybody. Like you
So
could guarantee, hey, dude, I got a bot for you here.
yeah, you can trust like the trading bots, like the public ones for like PancakeSwap, Uniswap, or on dexes. I'm just talking about the front running ones.
If anyone's advertising a bot, something, it's usually a scam. But you can find code if you're searching out yourself and looking in the right places. You could find certain smart contracts that will perform as a bot for you. But don't search like trading bot and all this stuff because it'll send you the wrong way.